Hello, I'm Mike Petruccelli. I'm here with EhrynSka, the writer, director, and producer of Collective Failures, a wonderful, wonderful miniseries happening on the internet.
On the internets.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing all right. So we're going to talk about what you're doing and all the great stuff that's coming out of the Collective Failures series. Does it feel good to have it sort of wrapped up? You're kind of in the process of almost finishing it, correct?
Yes.
Right now, at this moment.
Right now, that's all the episodes have been edited. They need some final editing, but right now, Tony, our sound guy, he is doing all the audio edits right now, so we're like in the final stretch.
Does it feel good?
Yes, because it was kind of insane to shoot it. We shot it in 10 days, and it was like these long, grueling days in no air conditioning in some of the hottest days already of the year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and Jonathan, the guy actor who plays Cliff, he decided, I told him, I was like, you can either wear shorts or pants, but if you choose pants, you have to wear pants the whole time. And he chose pants because he's like, well, there could be a day that it's cold. It was 90 degrees every time we shot, and the look on his face when he had to put those pants on, and he was just so grumpy, and I was like, well, that adds to your character, but he was just like, ugh, the whole time having to wear pants, so it was an interesting experience.
So we haven't talked about pretty much the show and kind of the synopsis on it. Can you give us like at least like a paraphrasing of sort of the details and the characters within the show?
So the synopsis of the show is based off of one of the members of the collective, Bexley, the only girl. She's a documentary film major. I would say film photographer, film major, getting her MFA at an art college.
Mm-hmm.
She's working on her thesis, and she decides what better way to do a thesis and talk about herself than this life that she's been living.
Kind of art or life imitating art.
Yeah,
sort
it's
of
very much
yeah.
that way, and so you really. You're seeing it from her point of view because she has her camera crew come in and they're following everybody around. So it's very mockumentary style, like The Office, like Parks and Recreation. So you have people when they look at the camera, or Cliff flips off the camera all the time because he really hates them being there because he's a curmudgeon.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it starts, her just kind of like following her life around and showing the world what most people, even in the real world, don't really know anything about this scene that we're all immersed in, that most people don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
She's kind of the anchor of the whole show. She's very much the, common sense as well. I realized after I wrote her and I started shooting it that she kind of is annoyed all the time.
Yeah, but she's also the most rational person,
Yeah.
so it kind of makes sense with...
She's rational, but then she also plays pranks on them all the time. That's how, you see that a lot in the talking heads, in the interviews of her, where she plays these pranks on these two boys, because how could you not? They're both idiots. You only really see her be vulnerable, one time, and it's the very beginning of the first episode when she introduces herself, because she's nervous and stuff, but that's the only other time she's just kind of a straight and narrow bitch, I have to deal with these idiots on a regular basis. It's really hard to be nice.
Yeah.
Cliff, he is the 35-year-old curmudgeon. He's started the collective over 10 years ago. He does not like anybody. He's not afraid to show it. He's misogynistic, sexist, a little bit of all those things, but he has no idea that he's being like that. He thinks he's totally fine. The way he talks to women and the way he talks, he's just completely oblivious to the fact that he's an asshole. And he's okay with it. And he's totally okay with it. And he just gets annoyed pretty easily. Him and Bexley have a pretty good rapport together. He pisses her off something fierce all the time, but there's something between them that we haven't really explored yet. We might do in the next season about their backstory, how they know each other, how they were in the scene. And then Milo is the third roommate.
Yeah. And
he's he's the overly enthusiastic guy that's in the scene that's at every show, and you try to avoid him because he's that guy that's just way too into it and just annoys the shit out of you, and he kind of
exists in every scene.
Yeah, and
there's especially in music scenes, there's always some overly enthusiastic folks, not even depending on just in every kind of genre of music.
Oh yeah, he wants to be a part of everything. He's also an amateur magician. He's not very good, But he thinks that he is. He's trying so hard, and we explore at one point his solo career as a noise artist, which will be really interesting for people to see, because most people have no idea what power electronics, noise, or anything like that is.
No, that's really. I'm kind of glad that you kind of brought that to light, because I've been in the position where I've told people like, oh, I've been doing a noise show before, it comes up in conversation, and people are just like, what the hell's a noise show? And it's just like, oh. Yeah, it's you kind of have to be at one to really like understand it, and it sounds like a kind of a pretentious answer, but at the same time, it's like it's so truthful in the sense. I'm glad that really kind of comes out to light in a show like this.
Well, that's definitely something I was thinking about, because a lot of people don't know there's so many sub-genres to the underground like DIY music scene. You and I are part of more of the pop punk type of scene. Shay is more into like the harder type of punk, like noise scene, so it's completely different from what.
And John's like,
John's kind of in between.
Yeah,
he kind of does a little bit of everything. So the whole series in general, I came up with the idea because for a long time I was very much out of the punk scene. I kind of took a step back. There was a couple of years when my anxiety really got the best of me, and I stopped going to shows. And Lawrence Arms has been my favorite band since I was 13. I'm almost 30. Like, I stopped going to their shows. I never missed a show at all.
Yeah.
And when they actually stopped seeing me at shows and I stopped seeing the people that I seen all the time, it was just kind of like this anxiety thing. So I just stopped going to house shows. I stopped going to everything. And this was kind of like me trying to get back into this scene that makes me who I am.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think people understand. My family doesn't understand it at all. Like, why at 30 I'm still in this scene? Like, why I still want to be a part of it? Because it's like, oh, you should totally like put your Converse up and in your jean vest and like get a real job and be a grown up. And it's like, but over the last 15 years when I've had an issue, or even the last 10 years here in Chicago, the punk scene has been there for me. Like, even with the show, when we didn't have a lead, when the sound guy quit on us, all these things, you helped with that too. Like, we all reached out to the community, and people I didn't even know were offering their help for free. And that's the thing. No one got paid on this show. Not even me. I'm the only one spending money on this show. I don't have a savings anymore because I love it this much.
I know this is like your first sort of kind of attempt at writing like a full series. What is it like, writing about it from the beginning of the process and then actually like going out and doing it and kind of making that decision? Like, how did it, I guess, kind of start, and how does it kind of come about?
I took a class at Second City, and my now mentor, Paul Petito, he was a teacher, and he told me after I finished another series that I needed something in between, and that's where Collective Failures came up. I needed to come up with an idea, something micro-budget, something we could do for practically nothing. And it was literally Valentine's Day at a romantic dinner, not really romantic because I was just literally like, holy shit, this idea came to me, like the light bulb turned on. Shay actually lives in a music collective, and he was complaining about some drama between them in like a text message. Like, it's so ridiculous.
And there's plenty of drama.
Oh yeah,
whenever you have your own house space.
Oh
right?
yeah, like there's like 4 guys, and it's so dramatic, and it just kind of hit me. I was like, why don't we make a mockumentary making fun of the scene of people that live in a music collective, music house, show house. I'll get, like, within the next 24 hours, I had all the first 5 episodes, all of the characters mapped out. Everything was done within that, and then it was just kind of and then I wrote all the episodes within 2 months, and then when I realized that we could actually make it was probably in April, and I was like, we're going to do this. I have no idea what I'm doing, but we're just going to jump off the cliff.
So it's like in about the course of 3 months, you went from like writing it and having it completed.
Yeah, so sorry, that was a long-winded 3
that's
months.
fine.
But yeah, it took traditionally it would take longer, but I don't have any patience whatsoever, so I was just like, let's go.
Yeah.
So within 3 months.
Well, sometimes that makes it a little bit better, right? To just kind of be like, well, I'm going to do this, so I'm going to write this, and then just go for it and kind of take got the reins? I mean, I'm assuming it's been sort of a learning experience, kind of diving into it.
I directed like a music video a really long time ago. That was the only time, any other time I've been a director, and like I took on every single role. There was not one role that I didn't do in the making of this. I produced everything. Obviously I wrote everything. I made all of the schedules. I found all of the people. I had to reach out to so many people in the scene. And it was a lot of work. Now I understand why my mentor was like, you need help. And I'm just like, no, I can do this. I got this. And
this dog is trying to, hold on real quick. Gus, go.
Come on, Gus.
Get out of here.
There you
go.
go.
What are you doing?
He wants on your lap. There you go.
Okay, so now I have this dog on my lap. Obviously, it's sort of a learning experience diving into it. When I remember, like, when you sent me the scripts, they're actually written in, like, a very professional script format. And when you're like, oh, I'm writing a TV show, I'm writing this, like, series, and it's about kind of like a punk collective, and I'm like, all right, that's kind of, like, I've seen stuff before that kind of revolves around that, but it's like, when I actually read it, I was like, oh wow, like, this is actually written out, like, in the format. Like, I wasn't even expecting that. I was expecting, like, a Word document. And I'm not trying to, like, belittle the situation in any way. It's just, understanding that you're, like, kind of gung-ho for it. And to see it, like, I think that was, 2.5 months ago?
Yeah.
And now it's like, we're sitting here and you're talking about it. So far, I mean, you have, was it 6 episodes? Five episodes. Throughout all of those episodes, like, what was, like, your favorite moment shooting? And I mean, I guess without giving, like, too much away, what I mean?
Well, there was one scene where Shay's character Milo and Jonathan's character Cliff, they have to run around the table together, and they full on did it. It wasn't like they were. Milo was angry at Cliff, so Shay had to chase Jonathan around this table, and they had to do it several times, and then Shay had to jump on Jonathan's back, and Jonathan had to body slam him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so, because the character did something really stupid and pissed Milo off, something fierce. And we had to do it like 5 or 6 times, and it was really hot that day. Mousetrap does not have air conditioning.
Oh, it most certainly does not.
Yeah, we do not. And we were upstairs in the residence too, which was even worse. And then we couldn't have the fans on while filming. And then also I was in the scene, I was in the back of the scene, so I couldn't be camera. So I was teaching the camera person how to, like, get in there without getting hit. But it was still fun because they brought their all, and, like, they were just, like, exhausted. You can hear, like how exasperated they were by the time we actually got it done. But it was still we were all laughing so hard. Oh, and the scene where Shay his character wears the glitter underwear and, like, does, like, the sexy dance. Everybody got to see him in that. It was super fun for that.
That's good. So yeah, the one of the last things I wanted to ask is, kind of like plans for next season, and where do you see things kind of evolving with the show? Obviously not necessarily plot wise, but just like planning wise.
Mm-hmm. Well, we want to shoot in November. I think we're shooting for that. I originally wanted to do it in September, October, but we're going to be out of town most of October. And September is just too soon. I kind of need a break, kind of recharge to give me some time to actually write the next 5 to 7 episodes. Mm-hmm. November is going to be much easier for us. I think just no one's going to be as hot and bothered because of the weather. We originally were going to push back some of the dates to July. I'm really glad we didn't. Because I had a family death, and it happened in the middle of shooting, and I literally, like, every other scene I was going back to cry, wipe my eyes, come back, and, like, and do that, because, my family was like, you need to come now. I was like, I have to finish this first, and then I can come, because it had already happened, so there was no reason to rush to the shit show that is my family dealing with a tragedy. So I just had to get through the day, but you can even see on some of the films that my eyes are, like, super puffy. I'm just like, all right, we're not going to use that scene. We're going to use a different scene.
Hopefully it doesn't happen, like, the next season.
And, like, what I'm hoping for the next season is that we don't have any catastrophic events, because everything that could have gone wrong in the first season did, so maybe a little bit less of that.
That sounds like a learning experience.
Yeah, so I think we're going to learn from that quite a bit. I definitely want to explore other collectives. We definitely have an idea about a bondage night at Club Rectum that Milo gets involved in. And then also a Halloween episode we would love to do with like a haunted house at the Fishbowl Collective, which I think will be really fun to make and shoot. Kind of exploring the backstories a little bit more of how Bexley and Cliff come to know each other. I think Milo might fall in love with someone else, we don't know yet. And then also just a little bit more about Felix, the rival collective, and maybe seeing his collective and seeing whether or not he's actually a good guy or not. So that's kind of like the...
Are you branching to other parts of the city by any chance, location-wise?
Yes. Well, we're going to try to do Club Rectum, which is down the street. We were...
Just like the idea of the name Club Rectum.
Yeah,
so strange.
It's a very interesting place. We were thinking about maybe Albion House. I would have to talk to them about that, obviously. There's a couple other collectives that we can reach out to, because I want to, make sure, to have like a
Definitely.
wide spectrum of the place. We were using my house here for one of the collectives, so we might revisit that one, and we have to find a collective for Felix, because he's the rival collective leader, so we have to see where he comes from now. So
Yeah.
It's kind of where we're got little things here and there, and we take notes down, and like it's starting to mold together some things. So I definitely want to see other houses and other scenes. Like the bondage night would be hilarious.
Definitely.
Oh man, I just have this in my brain, and it's just going to be the fun. Like seeing Shay in bondage clothing is just going to be the funniest thing I have ever seen. Like even better.
He's still in this room.
Yeah, like even better. Like I don't know if it might actually top him having to be in the silver, like the gold metallic underwear. It might actually top that, which we're not.
I really wish the camera was on you right now. The reactions on your face. Well, anyway, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm glad
Thank you.
that we were able to get a really cool interview about the show.
Yeah.
And this dog is the most chill dog on the face of the
I know,
planet.
my dog didn't even want to be a part of this now.
Digit.
Now you want to come? Come here.
Come here.
Oh, no. Where were you the whole time? You
Is
could've just
Digit
waited
going to have
here.
a part in the show?
She actually was supposed to in the other collective in the 5th episode, but she passed out on the couch and she had no desire to be in someone's lap because she's going to be a star.
Hopefully next season.
Yeah, next season we're going to try and get Digit in there.
Alright, here we go. There we go. Cool job.
Yeah.
Great job. Hello.